Hey, so there's a town in the Japanese Alps where the old streets are still dark wood and cedar smoke. The morning market has been running since the 1600s, and the nearest UNESCO village is a bus ride into the mountains. 3 days here is enough to see the old town properly, get out to Shirakawa-go, and still have time to ride a cable car above 2,000 meters, if you don't waste the first day figuring out where things are. I already mapped out the whole 3 days in a template, all the stops in order. So if you want it, the link's in the description. Takayama rewards you year-round, cherry blossoms along the river in spring, serious foliage in autumn, and winter snow on the thatch roofs in Shirakawa-go that makes the whole place look like a woodblock print. Day 1 is about learning what Takayama actually is. A riverside market that predates most countries, a government building that shouldn't still exist, and 3 narrow lanes of Edo-era merchant houses where sake breweries still hang cedar balls above their doors. Start at the Miyagawa morning markets. Open-air stalls running along both sides of the river since the Edo period, which means local farmers and craftspeople have been setting up here since before the United States was a country. The smells hit you before anything else. Grilling Haida beef, wood smoke, pickled things you can sample for free but probably can't identify. Get here at 7 when the stalls open, because by 9 or 10 the tour groups from Nagoya show up and the best stuff is gone. Grab a Haida beef skewer, eat it standing by the river, and bring cash. Most of these vendors don't touch cards, and that's honestly part of the charm. From the market, it's a short walk to Takayama, Jinya, the only surviving Edo-era regional government office left in all of Japan, because the other 60-something were destroyed over the centuries, and this one, rebuilt in 1816, simply wasn't. The shogunate ran the entire Haida region from here: tax collection, trials, local governance, and you walk through the actual rooms where that happened, not reconstructions. The rice storehouses out back are the most impressive structures on the site, and most visitors rush right past them, which is a mistake. Walk inside and look up at the scale of the thing. The building is unheated, which in winter gives you a visceral sense of how miserable bureaucratic work was 200 years ago. Bare tatami, dark corridors, the smell of old cedar. Senamachi-suji is the Takayama you've seen in photos. 3 narrow lanes of dark wooden merchant houses, sake breweries, and craft shops, all dating to the Edo period, all still functioning as real businesses and homes. Look up. The cedar balls hanging above doorways are called sujidama, and they mark sake breweries. 7 of them operate in Takayama, each with over a century of history, and most let you walk in and taste. These buildings survived not because someone decided to preserve them, but because Takayama was too remote and too economically quiet to be worth bombing in World War II. Come through in late afternoon when the day trippers have left and the light on the old wood is genuinely beautiful. Just don't linger past 5, because the shops start closing and the streets go dark fast. Day 2 sends you into the mountains. First to Shirakawa-go's thatched roof village, then back into town for festival floats with clockwork puppets and an izakaya alley where you can finally sit down. Shirakawa-go is a cluster of steeply thatched farmhouses sitting in a mountain valley, UNESCO listed since 1995. The roofs are built at 60-degree angles to shed snow, hands pressed together in prayer, which is exactly what gassho means. Those roofs aren't decorative. They're engineered for survival in one of the snowiest regions on Earth, and every few decades the entire village turns out to re-thatch one together, because that's how the place stays standing. Reserve the morning bus from Takayama ahead of time. It's a 50-minute ride, and buses fill, especially during winter light-up events when you'll need to book weeks in advance. Walk up to the Shiroyama observation deck first for the panorama every travel photographer chases, because once the midday tour buses arrive, this village goes from serene to packed in under an hour. Back in Takayama, the Yatai Kaikan houses 4 of the elaborate festival floats used in Takayama's famous biannual festival, multi-story wooden constructions with gold leaf, lacquerwork, and mechanical marionettes that bow, do acrobatics, and write calligraphy, all driven by hidden strings and gears. These karakuri dolls were built centuries before anyone used the word robot, and they work. You can see the mechanisms up close here in a way you absolutely cannot during the festival, when the floats roll past for about 8 seconds. The hall is quiet, dim, almost reverent, and the detail rewards you walking slowly around each float rather than scanning from the entrance. Only 4 floats are displayed at a time, and they rotate 3 times a year, so you won't see all 11. But what you do see takes about 45 minutes, and it's warm and indoors, which after a morning in Shirakawa-go matters more than you think. When the old town shuts down at 5 and the streets go dark, Dekonaru Yokocho is where the evening goes, a compact cluster of small izakaya stalls near the station, packed close enough that conversations bleed between them. Grilling Haida beef, sake steam, lantern light on wet pavement. This is the warmest place in Takayama after dark, and that's not a small thing in winter. Show up by 6 to claim a seat, because the stalls are tiny and they fill fast, especially on weekends. Bring cash because most don't take cards. This is where you stop being a tourist for an hour. Order the Haida beef and local sake, sit at a shared counter, and let the night do what it does. Day 3 goes deeper into the mountain architecture. Then up above, it's thatched farmhouses you can actually walk inside, and a cable car that hauls you over 2,000 meters into the Alps on a glass floor. Haida no Sato is an open-air museum of over 30 gassho-zukuri farmhouses, the same style of thatched roofs as Shirakawa-go, relocated to a lakeside setting where you can actually walk inside and see how people lived. Yesterday you stood on a hill photographing roofs from a distance. Today you stand inside one and realize how dark and smoky it was to live in a thatched house with a central fire pit. Romantic from outside. Less romantic when your eyes are watering. The houses were carefully disassembled and rebuilt here from villages across the Haida region, using no nails, just rope, beams, and thatch designed to shed meters of snow. You'll need a short bus or taxi ride from the center to get here, and book tickets online in advance because the site manages capacity, but the reward is having these houses almost entirely to yourself. The Shin-Hotaka ropeway is Japan's only double-decker cable car. With a glass floor on the lower deck, it hauls you above 2,000 meters into the northern Japan Alps, into bare rock and, in winter, deep silent snowscape. The Haida Range is sometimes called the roof of Japan, and on a clear day from the summit you understand why 360 degrees of genuinely alpine scale mountain, not foothills. The catch is the weather. Clouds roll in by mid-afternoon and can turn this into a very expensive ride into nothing. So check the ropeway's live camera before you commit the 90-minute bus ride from Takayama. Pre-book the combined bus and ropeway ticket, layer up hard because the summit can be 15 to 20 degrees colder than town, and protect your afternoon. This is the kind of view worth getting right. 3 days in Takayama gives you Edo-era streets that smell like cedar and brewing sake, mountain villages where people still live under thatched roofs, and a cable car ride that makes you understand why they call these the Alps. I put this whole 3-day route into a template with every stop mapped out, so grab it from the link in the description and make it yours. Let me know which stop you'd add an extra day for. Shirakawa-go and the Alps both deserve more time than they get.